Today we'll be talking about 5 ways to help your Gestalt language processor expand their language. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the video I did a little while ago about Gestalt language processors and the different stages Gestalt language processors have. I'll be referencing that later in the video. It might be a little confusing if you don't have that prerequisite other information in the other video. So go ahead and check that out, and without further ado, let's get started. And one of the first ways is acknowledging your child's language. Let's say, for example, your child's playing with Play-Doh and they say, Play-Doh, Play-Doh, Play-Doh. You can then respond and say, Play-Doh. Say the exact same thing that he's saying. By you imitating him, this shows that you have heard him, that you understand him, and that you recognize what he's saying. This also helps him to feel validated in his communication and can make him even more prone to communicate moving forward. The second way is by modeling language from your child's perspective with pronoun reversal. So normally when we're narrating child's language, what we often say is we might be saying they might be eating ice cream and we might be saying, oh, you're eating ice cream. Or they might be eating chips and we're saying, you're eating chips. Or maybe they're upset, we might be saying, aw, you're upset, you don't want that. So what we usually do for Gestalt language processors is we're going to change the pronouns and reverse them, because oftentimes Gestalt language processors often mimic or echo what we often say. So if we're talking to them and saying, you're eating ice cream, they might then later on say, you're eating ice cream. When you as the parent are not eating the ice cream, they are eating ice cream, and they should be saying, I'm eating ice cream. So to help make language more functional for them, that's why we do the pronoun reversal. So if you see your child eating ice cream, you'd be saying, I'm eating ice cream, or I'm eating chips, or I'm upset, I don't want that. So I'm going to be showing you how I model language to GLP learners in the stages of 1, 2, and 3. And I have Petunia here that is going to be used for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to start off at essentially stage 1, where we are trying to give your child scripts or gestalts to say on their own. So let's say Petunia here, when she wants a Cheerio, she is whining for it, she is reaching for it, she is not using her words to communicate. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be modeling a couple of different things for her so that way she knows that when this phrase is said, she gets the Cheerios. A couple different phrases I like to use, can I have the Cheerios? A lot of the times though, this phrase tends to be too long for kids, so sometimes I like to have it be give me the Cheerios instead. I like to stay away from phrases such as I want, because that tends to be a really repetitive phrase children tend to only say, and kids tend to get stuck on the I want phrases, and it can be their own script. And so if I start with give me or can I have, oftentimes those phrases don't get as stuck as an I want script. We want to make sure that we're really well-rounding their language instead of getting them stuck with a phrase like that. So I like to stay away from that. Of course, you can still use it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just kind of my personal preference. So I'm going to be modeling with no expectations. No expectations of her repeating what I'm saying, imitating, saying anything. My goal is only for her to listen and observe me saying it and then her getting the Cheerio. So I might say, give me the Cheerio. I might put it in her hand, or I might just put it right in the bowl. Give me the Cheerio. Give me the Cheerio. So I'm going to be modeling the phrase. I'm going to immediately be showing her when this phrase is said, this is the action that happens. Really quick cause and effect. Eventually, what I might be doing is eventually saying, give me the, and see if she's able to fill in that phrase, Cheerio. And if she isn't, that's okay. I'm just going to wait a couple seconds. If she can't fill it in, I'm still going to help her finish. Give me the Cheerio. Give me the Cheerio. And eventually, when she starts filling it in, I'm then going to go less and less. Give me the Cheerio, and see if she can start filling in the rest. After a while, I should be able to go like this, and then have her say, give me the Cheerio, as I'm giving her kind of a gesture cue to show her, like, what are we supposed to say when this happens? This is not going to happen in a day. This could happen in a day, but usually this does take time. Eventually, what my goal is in that stage 1 is for me to have her request, give me the Cheerio, and then I will give her the Cheerio. So next is stage 2, and this is where we start mixing and matching. So this will be when your child now has that certain script, or right now, Petunia has give me the Cheerio. That is a script she is saying consistently, and she will use her words to get what she is wanting. So now I'm going to try and change the script a little bit. So right now I have tomatoes, and now my goal is for her to be requesting other things. So I'm going to again be modeling, give me the tomato, and I'm going to give her a tomato. Give me the tomato, give me the tomato, and then do the same thing. And I want to be modeling it with a lot of different things. Give me the tomato, give me the, toy, give me the music, give me the TV, whatever your child is requesting. Now making sure that we're mixing and matching that script to where she's able to fill it in for a lot of different things. When she is then able to do it for a lot of different things and she's requesting it for many things, the goal is then to go start modeling from stage 3. And stage 3 is we're going now to single words. So again, if you aren't familiar with the stages of Gestalt language processing, I highly encourage you to watch the Gestalt language processing video, where I talk about the stages where Gestalt language processors start off big and we have to get smaller before we get up bigger. So it might be saying that's kind of weird that I'm going back to a single word for stage 3, but this is very normal and it is the best way to help your Gestalt language processor grow and expand their language. So what I'm going to do is have Putuyami modeling tomato, 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 and eventually my goal is to have her start saying tomato. Now, once she starts saying one word for this, I'm then going to be, in stage 3, you only want to be modeling nouns. So no verbs, no actions, you just want to be labeling things. Once she's able to request with a single word, I will then start adding in 2-word combinations. So it might be tomato bowl, when she wants the tomato bowl, or maybe it's tomato hand and put it in her hand, tomato hand, or tomato mouth and having me put it in her mouth, and starting to put those 2-word combinations. After that, when you're at a stage 3 and she's consistently doing that, then you move on to stage 4 and start putting those grammar in it. So that's when you start saying, tomato is in the bowl, tomatoes in the bowl, tomatoes in my hand, or put the tomato in my mouth, put the tomato in the bowl, so we start putting more of that grammar in there. The third way is by modeling functions of language that your child does not yet have. Now, if you haven't already watched this video, I talk about the 9 different functions of communication and how to take a simple language sample so you can identify the function of language your child has, identify what they don't have yet and what you can be modeling. So after when you're done with this video and you haven't watched that one yet, go ahead and check that one out because that'll be really helpful at this point. The fourth way is by limiting questions. Now, when you're asking your child a question, you are often asking them to retrieve information that they should already know. Instead, what is much more richer is by you modeling, commenting, or narrating language for them to hear and observe and kind of absorb. Now, it's okay to ask questions every now and then, but I wouldn't be asking lots of questions. I'd be really trying to minimize that down and only be commenting or narrating what your child is saying or doing. So instead of asking, what do you want to eat? You can say, I wonder if we should eat something right now. Or instead of saying, where's the car? You can say, it drove over there. Or instead of saying, what's the color? You can say, the car is yellow. The fifth way is finding a balance between modeling language and listening to language. Now, of course, we want to model new language for your child, but we also don't want to just bombard them with all this new language that they aren't able to really absorb or even process the language that you are modeling. It's really important that you model some language and have there be some silence. There is a lot of power in silence. Silence helps them to process the language, and silence also gives them a chance to initiate language on their own. And it also allows you to observe them and see if they have picked up on any of that language, or if there's other language that they're saying that you didn't know they had, or kind of vice versa. So it's really important to not just bombard them with language, but to allow them, give them some time to initiate and process the language on their own. And those are the 5 ways in order to help your Gestalt language processor expand on their language. Remember that each child is unique and is on their own language journey. So apply these tips and skills, be patient, and watch their language flourish. Here are the two videos that I previously mentioned earlier in this video. Go ahead and if you want to have a better understanding of the things I talked about in this video, go ahead and take a look at these videos so you can better apply the information that I gave. If you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing, as that totally brings encouragement for me to continue to making videos like this. And I would also love to hear from you, maybe in the comments below, of different tips or questions or anything you have around speech therapy for your child that I can also probably make a video on. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Remember that every child is unique and their language development journey is beautiful and filled with surprises. So apply these techniques, be patient, and watch your child's language flourish. Thanks for joining us today, and until next time, happy language modeling.